Previously on Ride Smart.
Hi, I'm Craig Cameron, and on this edition of Ride Smart, got a special treat for you. Ty Murray, 9-time world champion cowboy, 7-time all-around. Hey, he and I are gonna take two colts, never been handled, never been worked. We're gonna take them all the way through. You're gonna get to watch 5 days in a row, and then the last day, we're gonna take them through the challenge trails here on the Double Horn Ranch. And that's all coming up next on Ride Smart.
And now back to Ride Smart with Craig Cameron.
Well, we finally made it to the end, and I certainly feel like those horses came through for us.
Yeah, and it was just a lot of fun. It just puts us in a nice, relaxed atmosphere, and I think the horses always enjoy that.
Well, I thought day 4 was a great day. It was actually one of my favorite days. The whole time, like, you were really having to work hard on your horse, went back to the round pen, and the whole time you were doing that, I took my horse over in that little corral over there where we just brought in the cattle, and boy, he was getting over that. In the meantime, I was really working with my rope because I knew I wanted to get out there and drag some stuff with my horse. So the whole time you were working, well, I was just rubbing that rope, getting him used to some pressure over his hindquarters and his hocks and everything. So the whole time I just stayed busy. So once I came out there, then I went through my little routine of starting on the ground, dragging just the rope, and then finally just a little light cedar stave, and then from there moved into the saddle. Before you know it, he was good. I was loping him around. Boy, he's really soft that day on his face, really working with me. Boy, after you got your horse good with that rope, which was an amazing transition after you went back in that round pen, that horse really got softened up. I looked over there and you were just dragging that thing around. Well, all the spook gone from that horse. But after that, boy, we decided to take those horses out on the trail, and we used a little escort rider, which was, something I always advocate. Not that we necessarily needed it, but, it was just kind of nice in the beginning. Went out on the challenge trails right here on the Double Horn Ranch, which are nice and narrow. Well, it gives the horse an opportunity to turn right, turn left, and then we're still just enforcing those cues. And before you know it, man, we're just going around there like a couple of old horses. And then we ditched the escort rider. We did it all by ourselves. I led first, then you led. We never let one horse just become a follow the leader. Before you know it, boy, we were crossing some ravines. And I had to work with my horse a little bit on the ravine there. Got a little unsure. I stepped off again. Just became a leadership deal. Before you know it, he was just down and out. Went through the old cowboy curtain, the rings, just a lot of neat stuff. And that would end up being one of my favorite days. All right, we're heading up the old cowboy curtain, and there's a lot of wind today, and that thing's moving. And we got our escort horse first, and we just kind of go slow through there, and just offer it to the horse. And these horses have not only never done this, they've never seen this. So I like it when a horse puts his head forward like that. Look at him. And he went through there, boy, like an old timer, and I love that. And again, that's just like a bunch of brush or anything else that'll help a horse to get brave, help him in the trailer loading, a lot of different things at this point. Ty, what do you got going?
I'm just going to take my time here. He's let him check it out a minute. It goes back to everything. I'm going to ask him and soften every time he softens. It kind of get his head through there a little bit and see that as he can go through. Right there would be a good asking point.
He figures maybe he can eat that thing. Yeah, man, that was an ideal situation. A lot of times they'll kind of scoot through there. It makes a little echoing noise when you start. Well, my deal is just to position up and make it easy for them to get on through there. And that worked out really good.
Yeah, and what I enjoyed when we were on the trail is, you know, like that our horses didn't feel like they were scared to take the lead. You know, they wasn't like, hey, I'm out here all by myself blazing the trail. You know, they'd just go right along. And what I liked as much as that, or even more, is when I'd follow, or when you would follow, our horse wouldn't be like, oh, there goes my buddy, and you know, they were happy with us and they were good with us, and they didn't have that overwhelming anxiety to, I got to get back over there, nickering and all that. We could get them far apart, and they just stayed happy and content right there with just us, and that, to me, that was really key.
And then finally, we made it to the day 5, which was going to be our final day, which, you know, all this, even though day 5, this is all just the beginning, just a start. These horses aren't broke, they're just well started. And boy, day 5, we came down here, just did a little bit of warm up. Then we introduced them to our cattle, which just, you know, we were able to just guide them around and kind of track the cow, just move them up to those cattle a little bit, let them find the sweet spot with the cow.
You know, I thought he did really good. I thought the steers that you had out here for us was perfect for 2 really green colts like that. They were just kind of slow and just trotted around, maybe a nice little lope. And then what I really liked yesterday was I finally took my rope down and swung up behind that steer and whacked it on him there, and even stopped him, you know, dallied up and even stopped him with and let that horse feel that steer on the, you know, on that saddle horn, and boy, he just couldn't have done that any better.
And then from there, heck, we finally made it out through the course, and before you and I went to the course, we went down the challenge trail on the other side of the ranch, and man, they truly moved through there like a couple of old 12-year-old geldings, didn't they? Man, that was nice.
Yeah, they were both just really content and really relaxed and just traveling along nice, and felt like they really enjoyed being out and going, and they weren't looking for boogers and, you know, snorting and spooking sideways. They were really just going along, like you say, like a couple 12-year-old geldings. And then when we got out to your obstacle course, you know, that was just a lot of fun, and you know, that was just part of the training. And you know, like you talked about, it's not something that we wanted to do and say, well, look how good we can do this on a young horse. We literally tried to show the process of how we would approach those different things, and you know, I felt like all in all it went fairly well.
I thought it went real good. And, you know, a lot of times like you were working, you know, I never had anybody else hold my horse. I wanted to spend as much time as I could. I'd step off my horse and loosen my cinch and just be with him. And boy, I think he got to where he really knew me. I was certainly getting to know him. He knows my way and my touch and my scent, and, you know, just getting that relationship going. But, you know, just like we said from the beginning, we weren't going to edit out anything that didn't go perfect. That was the stuff we wanted to address and see, let the folks see exactly how we were doing it, just like we do at all the clinics here at the ranch. You know, just going slow, going methodical, waiting on this horse, presenting it in a way they could understand. So, you know, some of the stuff we did, just like the bridge, each one of them had a little anxiety about that. Shoot, we just hung in there, made the thing we want them to do just become simple.
And that's the, you know, that's the thing, is people need to remember that's the reason the bridge is out there. We want them to have anxiety about the bridge. That's the whole purpose of it. You want to be able to take a horse up there and not say, well, I'll get him over that bridge, you watch. But to go up there and say, yes, you have anxiety about this, but I'll show you. If you'll just get soft and feel for me, I'll feel for you, and you'll see there's nothing to it. And I think that it was shown that in just a really short amount of time, how calmly they accepted it. It didn't start with just firing over it and then go back around and fire over it and just plan on just beating it into them. Nothing got drilled. You know, we didn't do anything today where it was drills, because when you work with a horse in this manner, where there's a communication and an understanding, as soon as they got it, they got it. You're done. I guarantee you I could take that colt and I could turn him out and not look at him for 2 years and get him right back up, and he'd be right where I left off today, and we wouldn't miss a step.
Exactly right. You know, we went through, you know, just went over the logs nice and soft, you know, just make it a positive experience. We went through the little ravine there. Hey, just no big deal.
Well, there's a little obstacle that Craig made with the bulldozers, just kind of a deep ditch and just some different footing. He put a little brush down in the bottom of it, just a different look for these horses. But it's nice to have as many things as you can to have a horse want to say, hey, I don't know about that. That just gives you an opportunity. Then we kind of got a little hill on this side. Here's where I'd use some straightness, ride him with my legs, say, come on over this. I couldn't have been happier with that.
This is kind of a fun little obstacle, and we use it, I think, in the Extreme Cowboy Race number 4, and it's just a down and out, and the footing gets a little heavy in the bottom, and kind of test these horses a little bit. And the idea is to move forward just like always and keep them under control. I like a good control ride, and remember to help them up the hill by leaning forward and work on that good loose rein from the beginning, even on these good young horses just like this. Tack tip for today: snugness and fitting of the cinch. You know, the cinch is so important because it's what holds your saddle in place. So you want it to fit just right. You want the D-rings to be the same height on both sides, and if it's way too high, then your cinch is too long or it's crooked on one side or the other. You want, when you finish, for the middle of this cinch to be dead center of the heart girder of this horse. You know, this cinch is nice and loose now, and when I go to snug it up, I don't want it too tight, I don't want it too loose. You don't need to make this horse look like a peanut, but not so loose where it's gonna come off the horse. So when I go in here to snug it up, I like to pull it nice and slow and easy, which allows my horse to stay put. Always put the tongue in the hole, and I tie it off like this, come right through my keeper where I don't have a wad or a knot under my leg. The cinch, make sure that it fits.
And now back to Ride Smart with Craig Cameron.
We went through Texas one step, you know, waited on our horses, and you rode your horse down. I led mine the first time. Hey, ended up with that good positive result no matter what we did. I'm gonna just offer it to him by getting off my horse in the beginning, and I'm just gonna step down here and let this little horse, you know, find his way. And probably the worst thing I could do is pull on him, because then he can't use his head for balance. And look at that little horse. And he's been, look at those back feet. A lot of times those back feet will get right up on next to those front feet, and that's a horse trying. Same deal in the trailer loading. I've actually seen the back feet get in front of the front feet. So again, I'm not gonna force him. I'm gonna kind of wait on him, and don't get way out in front of him, because I've seen him really leap, and they just certainly jump on you, so you kind of got to be awake. But now he's just perched out on the timbers, and now here come them back feet, and down he comes just right. And it's a little tougher when you sit up here. So, but again, you got to build confidence too in your horse. So I encourage him to go forward now. There. Now sit back as he gets his feet placed here. Just let him find his way down. Good. And I just try to balance and kind of go with him. And I couldn't be prouder of this horse.
I like that. See that give? It's just like the barrels, and I might back him up a little bit. That was good. Now I'll offer it to him again here. I'll just encourage him here with a little bit. See right there, I'll stay where I'm at, and then when he gives, I'll soften again. That was the important part of what happened right there. And that was okay.
Hey, the bridge work, open ditch, I mean, just kind of waiting on these horses, and what little horse of mine, you know, he got, you know, a little itchy a few times, and he had a little, you know, just, you know, that stud in him, he'd get a little trouble, but then he'd just come across like a champion every time, and that was the main thing. And I think one thing good that we did, especially considering we were riding these young horses, is we'd get a few good ones, and we wouldn't just keep doing it and drilling on it till finally we made a problem. You know, we kind of would move on after that.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's something that you have to drill on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 1,000% confident that I have that, and I know that it's there. I know it wasn't luck. I know I didn't make it happen and get lucky and just kind of force it through. I know that the horse gave it to me, and that's what I want in everything that I do with my horse. I don't want to sneak nothing by him. I don't want to skirt any issues, and I don't want to force nothing on him. I want him to give me everything that he gives me, and it just totally, you know, what's nice is that, you know, already just in this short amount of time, when I step off that horse, he follows me. He'll follow me up to the barn. I can step off on one side of the big round pen and just walk to the other, and he's right in my hip pocket. Just because he feels like, hey, I need to stick with this guy. He shows me where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do, and I'm comfortable with that.
You know, and then I like the way we ended. We rode We rode the big circle, which was to me the real proof in the pudding. I mean, them horses just loped out on a big circle, no rails, no nothing, you know, and really loped pretty darn nice, I thought. My horse felt good to me. You know, he wasn't trying to run away with me. He wasn't trying to get to the barn or running up next to your horse. You know, he was pretty content just to be right with me, and boy, I love that kind of stuff, which really made us feel like, you know, to me, that we're really on the right track. These horses are really having trust in us. They're saying, hey, you know, if these guys want to lope, I think everything's just going to be fine and dandy. All right, we're out here, and we're just going to, in a big circle out in the middle here that we use sometimes in the race, and just see what we can do with our horses, keep them between our reins and between our legs, and just off from a soft feel, and see where we can take them and push them to a trot, maybe even to a canter. Ty?
Well, I'll just kind of walk this horse along here. I'd like to bring my energy up and see if I could get him to trot. And remember, I don't have anything helping him stay straight out here except for myself. His feet are kind of broke off because he's a young horse that hadn't been shod yet. I'm going to try to keep him on this soft ground. See if I could offer him a canter. Here I'm having to use my left leg. I'm not going to be critical about how straight he is, but I am going to try to keep him straight. Really like how he's moving now. Go back to one hand every chance I get. See, like right there, I say, no, you don't just take over and drive. Really put that right leg on him. Falling in on me a little bit. Left leg right there. Say, come on, I'll show you softness in the middle. That feels really nice on loose rein. Here's where he wanted to fall in last time. He dropped the canter, that's okay, right leg. I'll push him into that canter again. That's nice. Nice on the correct lead. See, I use that left leg here. This time I'm gonna drive him on forward where he doesn't lose this canter. Hold him off them trees with my right leg. See how he got grouchy about that, but he's got to learn to stay between my legs. Now I'm going to just ask him to pick up a little trot and go forward, trying to be soft and just push him, and just guide him with those feet and push him forward here. Just go somewhere just like that. He's feeling good to me. And I want to just keep that soft hand as much as I can. I want to remember to try to stay very much in the middle, no leaning. You know, if I have to use my saddle horn to help myself, I will. Use a little right leg here, push my horse right back on the trail. And just let him find his way down the trail and let him realize that everything's okay. So I'm just pushing him when I need to. And I want to keep a rhythm in my body as I drive him forward. Now I'm asking him to go a little faster. Here, just extend into a post and try to find that canter and just go with that horse on a loose rein. Just gonna use a little right leg, left rein, drive my horse over, just go with him. Left leg again, drive my horse, keep on going. He's doing okay. He's just a youngster. He picks up the wrong lead there. And I'm gonna go with him just for a minute and maybe see if he can find the change. Not make a big deal out of it. There he finds it. I'm gonna use a little right leg here, a little left rein. As soon as he's correct, just turn him loose on a big old loose rein. Just drive him forward. There, that's feeling better. And I'm really pushing with my seat bones now. Here's his little trouble spot. I'm gonna lift that left rein up, use that right leg, and just go with him. Right leg again. He always wants to get off course just a little bit right there. Just drive him forward and go with my horse.
And now back to Ride Smart with Craig Cameron.
Well, you know, I feel like we've done about as much as we can do on a couple of raw recruits like this. You know, we had a 2-year-old stud, a 3-year-old gelding, really nothing done to these horses. I mean, this has been the real deal, everything you've seen. And, you know, in a lot of ways, I don't think we could have expected a lot more from these horses. You know, when we're effective, the horses were effective too.
It seems like every time I work with a horse, the horse will teach me a little bit more and how to be a little better with them next time. And it's been a fun week, and I'm glad we had the opportunity to do it.
Man, I'm really tickled, and hey, you know, I learned something from you, I learned something from the horses, I hope you learned something from me, and you know, we're gonna keep our deal going, and that's working with the horse and not against the horse. And hey, Ty, let's just keep riding and making them horse tracks.
I appreciate it.
I do too. Yeah, that's pretty good stuff there.